Hi, everybody. Um, just got back from finally going to yoga. Yeah, don't you love my hair? I'm so great at styling it. Anyway, um, I haven't been on here for a while, and I just wanted to catch you guys up on a couple of things, which is weird because I know sometimes I tend to talk about things in several TikToks, so I may have already talked about this stuff, but wanted to kind of continue on about it. Anyways, so I was just in Ukiah for a little mini getaway with my husband, which was nice. And we went to this place that had mineral baths and a pool and just chillaxed. And there was like hardly anybody there. And it was really nice. It was only for like 2 days. And it was right after the end of the school year because I just finished my school year where I work. And I just been really burnt out. And I feel like the peri is really kicking in for the perimenopause. I mean, we're rolling towards summer, so it doesn't help that the weather's kicking up. But yeah, I took my first cold shower like last week. And like, I don't live in Mexico, so it's not that hot. And I've just been having a lot of like bouts of like really having a hard time getting out of bed. Like I already have that, but it's just like even more strong or like even more weakness and stuff. And so I'm just gonna update you on kind of where I'm in my journey. Like right now, I have a colonoscopy on the 19th. Sounds like fun, right? And a liver scan on the 27th. For the GI stuff, because us neurodivergents tend to have GI stuff. But I knew about the GI stuff before the neurodivergent, anyways. And I did like one of those 24-hour pee things where you like have to take a jug and fill it and bring it back to the lab. And it was for histamine, and I think it was kind of high, but I think my thing is like it's either kind of low or kind of high, but it's within what they call the normal range. And I guess they just don't care if it's on the like lower half or higher half. And I'm like, that's stupid. But anyway, what else? I'm going to see, I guess there's a special gynecologist called a urogyne. I don't know. It's like UR something gynecology. And it's for my pelvic floor. I'm trying to get at the bottom of this whole like tight pelvic floor and people calling me hypermobile and what's going on. I've been in email talks back and forth to set up a genetics appointment. They want you to start with your family history, and that's fine. Diabetes and heart stuff and different things, but I definitely think there's some stuff that has been undiscovered. I have muscular weakness and stuff. Opening jars is hard and stuff. And I've talked about this before, I think. Getting out of bed, walking, feeling stiff, all this kind of stuff, which I think my dad had some of that. My mom had some of that. So it's kind of hard to tell which one. I've talked previously before how I've done different genetic testings. I've done a GI mapping. I've done a couple different Dutch tests. I've done a Clarity X test that tests your gene, I guess this is your predisposition for your genes against like medications and how you process them and stuff, and it'll tell you like, hey, you should probably stay away from this and this is fine for you, which I don't understand why doctors don't do that. And it came up excuse me. That's always fun. I want to figure out what that's about too. It'll come back to me where I'm at. Clarity X test, they looked at the things that came up were I'm going to probably say it wrong, the MFTHR gene, because I never know if it's MTHFR or whatever, the folate stuff that popped up. The comp gene in regards to dopamine issues, which I knew I had things with dopamine because it's constantly like, oh, I need to have something shiny. There was a couple things with processing in the liver, like how, in regards to how I process drugs, and I'm not quite 100% clear, but it's sort of like, excuse me. like drugs can kind of hit me hard strongly, and I have to like sort of start them at lower dose for longer duration. And I also feel like there's just a processing issue in general, because I wonder what's going on with what's the liver, because I had what they called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease for some reason. And my dad had diabetes and kidney failure, and before that, gallbladder removed. So there's definitely like a lot of GI stuff. And my mom had heart stuff, and I don't know if I have some sort of muscular stuff, because I always like weak here and weak here, and I've and my knees to legs. And I've seen something on Google called distal myopathy, or I guess there's certain parts of you that are just. I had this like as far as I can remember, especially prominently remembering it in my maybe mid to late 20s. I may have had it before, and I feel like I've had vague memories of like maybe having moments of growing pains when I was young, or something with my knees. I always have like pain in the knees or back of knees or tight hamstrings or tight I don't know what you call the connection, the not the fascia, the tendons maybe between the knee and what leads to the back of the hamstring. But I just feel like there's more stuff to find out, whether it's autoimmune, I don't know. So anyways, I'm seeing that gynecologist for the pelvic floor in August, and I'm doing a call with this neurologist because I think I briefly spoke about getting an MRI. The MRI looked fine. He didn't do a functional MRI, which is what I really wanted to do. And when what he did want me to do was go do a transcranial magnetic stimulation, which I'm not against doing, but I'm just like, why don't we want to look at my brain and see how it functions first? I don't understand that. It's like trying to go somewhere without a map or GPS, but whatever. So I wanted to talk to him again because I have a referral that's come through for rheumatology. Yes, I'm just like the referral queen. What else? Should I hit dermatology? I haven't even looked for a regular gynecologist yet. Anyways, just to do a sidebar, I just watched a previous TikTok that talked about, there was this doctor, I didn't get her name, unfortunately. She was talking to an interviewer, this man, and they were talking about how endometriosis is not a gynecological issue. It is an autoimmune issue, and it has to do with histamine issue, and it can be all over the body. Now, I don't know if I have endometriosis. I've never had any like completely terrible periods. I think I tend to have more like PMDD. I think I get like issues with mood swings and things like that from my mom's side of the family. I don't know if they have bipolarism. I was diagnosed with like general anxiety and depression, but my whole life growing up in the 80s and 90s, I was in high school in the 90s and college in the in the mid 90s to the early 2000s. Never had anybody diagnose me. It was more like, you don't score well in math and English, so you need to go take these extra classes. And I had to redo stuff in college for that too. Anyways, so coming back right now, it's like between rheumatology and genetics and neurology to figure out like what my next step is, to figure out like what's going on muscularly, how does it tie to ADHD, is there a way to figure out if I have EDS, because I did like the doctor at Kaiser, when I was previously at Kaiser, had like a questionnaire, and I scored like at a 4 or not quite a 5, and you have to be like a 5 or 6, which is ridiculous. I think you need to look at other things too. I'm pretty sure there's more I want to say, but I'm kicking it up to almost 10 minutes now. But yeah, I'm just battling it out here, trying to like, see where I land on getting different referrals and different appointments and see if it gets me anywhere good. Oh, the transcranial stimulation. I'm not against doing it. I still think that it would be worth doing a functional MRI. And I just want a doctor who's really looking at the whole thing when it comes to somebody who's on the spectrum, because I think I'm on the spectrum. I definitely have ADHD, and my kids are autistic. So it's like, come on, man.